been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my clock, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 problems, and I still kept it 100. Hold up. Yeah.
Hello. So, not much to say today, but let's talk about the trade that hasn't failed in 3 years. One failed. And it wasn't an epic fail, but I decided to start a new streak, right? So that trade that's worked 1,080 times in a row, let's officially end it, and we're going to start a new count. So far we're 2 for 2 today. I'll show you those trades in a second, but what I'd like to address is the 1,080 in a row, and it's been more than that actually, because we just started tracking it. We started working with another company, and they were bent on track records. So I started keeping a track record. And they said they wanted a track record. I'm like, here's the track record. We need a track record. Here's the track record. We need a track record. I have a track record. Here it is. No, but we need a track record. No, here's the track record. Remember those conversations? Those were fun conversations. Remember those mornings? Man, if only you had a track record to so we could show people this trade. What do you mean? I have a track record. I could show you each trade. Man, if only we had a track record. I have a track record. What about a track record? Who needs a track record? By the way, here's the funny thing about track records. Those are bullshit too. I could show you a trade that works 98% of the time, and somehow people will find a way to screw it up. Trust me, I know. I'm one. So I'll show you the BJ trade. Of course, it was BJ that didn't work out, because if you're married, they never do work out. And should have assumed it wasn't going to work out. But I'll show it to you in a second. I just let me have some coffee. So it's a nice boring day. I like boring and profitable. Sticking with the idea that the market can't go down, since the May 12 power gap. And obviously, every time the market does have a pause or a one down day, we are met with an equal and greater move for 10 days. Which is kind of what now I'm thinking we're going to be in again. And every time I say that out loud, it's irrelevant. I don't care where the market's going. I don't care where stocks are going to be. The trade that we put on works in every environment, through every market, up market, down market, and a sideways market. If you guys remember way back in 2018, it was kind of a sideways market, I guess. I mean, it wasn't the rip your face off rally that we're accustomed to, but now we're in a market where it's virtually impossible to try to milk a short trade. So instead of trying, just admit it doesn't work, right? And focus on what does work. Covering the short, knowing shorting is short-lived and you're going to die, and then taking the other side of that trade. So that was what we did with PDD today, right? So PDD, if you guys know why it's on the radar today, you should know. What's the saying? If you know, you know, right? If you know, you know. PDD, what are they? I think this is the company that owns Temu, which is a scam Chinese product company that may or may not exist. Nobody really knows, right? I don't believe in any Chinese stocks. I don't think they should be on our market. You know my story. I mean, it's worth repeating. Most Chinese stocks are scams. Hey, what's up? Most Chinese stocks are scams. And even the ones that aren't scams, the underlying company probably doesn't even exist. Like when you see a company like Tiger, supposedly this is the Robin Hood of China, TIGR. Chances are it's two Chinese kids playing cosplay in a Robin Hood costume, running around a closet and they call that a business. You just don't know. And what I've learned, again, I come from old school trading back in 2000, 2005, 2010, where every 5 or so years, the Chinese stocks get, they get into favor. And 9 out of 10 stocks that I traded back just 15 years ago, they're not even on the market anymore. They were complete scams. Puda Coal, Smart Heat, Rhino. You know these companies, environmental waste companies out of China. They weren't. Paper company out of China. It wasn't a paper company. So you really can't trust anything. But now that I've said all that and wasted 90 seconds of our lives, none of that matters. So you take it under advisement. You take a few things under advisement. The market never goes down until it does. Chinese stocks are all scams unless you want to trade them for a momentary, brief flicker of time. It was what we did today. So PDD, right? The earnings report came out. And that was when I was sleeping. So when I woke up, the first thing I saw was, hey, PDD reported earnings, and it's up. What am I looking to do? Short it, no matter what. I don't care that it's Chinese. Now it's just an earnings report, and I'm looking to fade it. It's gapped up on earnings. I'm looking to fade it. So what's the fade? The fade is a selling. The selling that's getting faded into, right? It's the shorters' opportunity to take advantage of the sellers taking profits, right? You understand? So we're using market mechanics and rational thought, which is exciting, right? It's not too often you get to use rational thought because the market is disconnected from most of reality and rational thought, right? Just like people trying to put a price tag on Palantir. There's no rational way to value something that everybody wants. It's a craze. It's a fad. It's exciting. There's no way to value something when everybody wants it. So what's the valuation of Palantir? Whatever people are willing to pay for it. It's a woozy, it's a wazi, it's a fugazi, it's a fugazi. It doesn't matter. But what we do know is that certain patterns and certain moments replicate and repeat. So we're in business to take advantage of the repetition and the monotony of this trade. So what are you looking to do? You're looking to take advantage of the profit taking that's going to happen on a stock that reported earnings that's gapped up above VWAP. So here's the rip. And then here's the ranges. You made this little range on top, the 142 to the 140. And it broke there. And if I was awake, I would have shorted it right there, but I wasn't. And when I arose from my slumber, I saw this happening right here, right around 745. And this attempt to get over the VWAP and that fail, and then the test from underneath, and then the rollover is what convinced me. And I was like, hey, I'm going to take my shot. I'm going to take my shot here at 135.10. And I'm going to use the VWAP, and I'm going to use this high. And again, if you're trading a $135 stock, you're usually looking to risk at least $250, right? You're not going to trade a $135 stock with 12 cents of risk, or not even 50. You're usually looking to risk minimum $1, usually $250. And you should be comfortable with that. Now, the reward was the orange line, because what we've seen is when stocks start to fade through today's VWAP, they generally get down to prior day VWAP. So if I'm shorting 200 shares at 135, my first stop is the 137. There's the 2, right? And then I let it breathe a little bit. If I want to let it breathe, I'm going to let it go back to where it pivoted. So that's my second stop. Obviously not a riskless trade, right? But my reward, if I'm right, is down at 128.50, if not more, right? You see how it went down some more. But that's the first way to identify risk reward, when you have the VWAPs laid out so perfectly, like here it is. Gapped up stock above today's VWAP, prior day VWAP down below. So in this case, you can use today's VWAP as the entry. Target is prior day VWAP. And you also adjust your risk, or your risk parameters are the pivot points from when the stock attempted to go back up. And that's how you focus on this one particular trade. And that's how you focus on every trade. every trade you ever put on. You know why you're doing it, what you think's going to happen, and what you're going to do when you're wrong. Not if, when. We're going to get some of these wrong, right? But lately, they continue to work, and they're working almost every time. So you have to keep taking this trade until they stop working so well. And you know what? They're never going to stop working this well. It's been 30 years. The trade's been working pretty well. And now that I use it with VWAP, it's virtually happening every time. So, and I'll go back to the BJ. So I'm going to show you the BJ trade from Friday that I'm going to say broke the streak. I'll show you why, and then I'm going to show you this Newegg trade, and I hope you guys have been shorting the Newegg since I brought it to your attention on Friday. If you guys were with me, it was a 27-point trade. It's a pump and dump. It's going to zero, and I'll explain a little bit more. So let's walk through this PDD trade, right? So your risk reward, you're risking basically 2.5 to 3. And you're thinking maybe this thing's about to pull back to 120. Let's just round it off for easy math, 128. So 135 to 128, right, is 7, right? So 7 points is what you're hoping to make, or the market's telling you that, quote unquote, should, risking about 2 to 250 to make 7. Fantastic. So the shorter here, as it starts to roll over, maybe you took some profits. And again, what a nice spot to take some profits right there. And then it starts to roll over and you're thinking, oh my God, it's going to zero. But then when it starts to rally, I used the prior day VWAP on the way back up to get out of the trade. So that was me getting out. So I covered on the way down and then on the way back up, basically at the same price. And then obviously, look, that price where I made this mark before, had a chance to get short again, didn't do it. But what I did do, right, is now that we've had the short, right, and we understand we're in a market where most stocks just don't want to stay down, we take that under advisement. We're not going to buy PDD to Chinese stocks. We don't buy Chinese stocks. What we do buy are stocks that are getting short covered, squeezed, and put aside your loathing for Chinese stocks. It's just now an earnings play that the short worked. And now, because the shorters got paid, how do you get paid now on the long side? Take advantage of the short covering, the inevitable short covering. It's not too often you see a BJ trade like Friday. That's why that trade sucked, right? That's why that trade sucked on Friday. You don't blow up an account on the trade like that, but it wasted our time and wasted our money. But that's why you got to keep going back to this trade for when they have the wonderful setup. So here you got basically a break back above the level where you broke down from. You'd be covering your short there, wouldn't you? If you were still short, yes, but now you're not short anymore, so buy it. You follow? So we were already short, and the levels that we would be covering if we were still short now become long triggers. Because if you were short, you'd be covering, wouldn't you? Yes, but now you're no longer short. So take advantage of the other side and buy the faux show. And now, and I didn't buy it here because, I wasn't in the trade, but then it broke back over the prior day VWAP. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to buy this thing at 128. Even if it just goes back to the VWAP, that's $1 right there. So I bought the 128. And then by the blue line, it's already up $1.10. On 200 shares, that's $220 in less than 9 seconds. In less than 19 seconds it was. It was about 27 seconds. And then look what happens. It breaks back over the VWAP and then tests it from on top. And then goes back to that level where we sold again. And then on this rally, we're not thinking it's going to roll over. We're thinking it's going to go back here, but then it rolls back over and we sell it on the way back down. Because where you cover on the way down is where you cover the rest on the way back up. And where you sell stocks on the way up If it rolls, you got to sell them on the way back down. It's the same trade over and over again. So once you understand those market mechanics and you understand how we trade and how you should trade, because I prove it every day. This is it. If you're going to day trade, this is how you have to do it. And you should expect to be on a PDD short and then a possible long. And then, of course, look, if you really were feeling it, why not, if the longs are getting out, why not take advantage of the short that just gave you a reason to believe you could short it at 129.75 and have it pull back to 125.75 for 4 points. And that's what we call just being in the ebb and flow of the name. So if you're in the ebb and flow and you're feeling it, you got market mechanics, you got VWAP, you got the ebb and flow, and what you're doing mostly, which is my favorite part, is you're staying focused on one individual name, understanding that you probably will have these opportunities, and you're not running off to the side looking at the next shiny object. You know what's happening. You're in it. You're feeling it. And that ebb and flow, and you understand now the prices that meant something 2 hours ago, now you know those prices, and it helps you stay focused. And then you look up, it's 1 o'clock, and you've had a good day, and you've traded 2 names. And what was the other name? You got it. Newegg. So my premise is this stock's going to zero. Does that mean I'm going to short it willy-nilly? No, but after what I did up to it on Friday, got a 1-minute multi-day VWAP breakdown for 27 points, right? You guys remember that trade, right? I was talking about it with you earlier. And then it all came crashing down. Wonderful. So today, because I crushed it on Friday, the first thing I did was to check where that stock was. And I was like, oh my God, look at this. Garbage is still in the hundreds. Bully for me, right? So then as soon as the market opens up and the short confirms itself, right? I'm not going to short a stock that just squeezed from $3 to $135. This thing could go to $700 in this market, especially because this is the kind of market where $3 stocks are going to $140. I don't want to get in its way if it turns around, but now that it's topped out, chances are it is going to go back to $3. So I'm going to take advantage of it. And when am I going to take advantage of it? When the VWAP gives me permission to do so. And that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes into the day, as it can't get over VWAP, can't stay over VWAP, can't stay over VWAP, breaks the new low. Now I'm a shorter right here at the new low, $98, using the 2 points and the 3 points as my stops if I'm wrong. $100 stock, willing to risk at least $250, possibly $5 on this trade, because this is a more volatile name. So I'm willing to risk $250 to 5 points because I'm thinking the stock could go to zero. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm risking 3 or 4 points thinking that this stock could legitimately go to zero today. And that's why I'm a fan of shorting this the last couple of days. And again, tomorrow it could be up 49 points. We'll address it again tomorrow. No longer in the short. It was phenomenal. Covered on the way down. I got stopped out on the way back up over here. Made my 4 or 5 points on it. Left 10 points on the table like I usually do. And that's the story of my life, but that's not your problem, right? So let's go back to the streak ender, which was now infamously the blowjob stock, which broke the streak of 1,080 of these trades working in a row. And I'll explain why I'm saying this has broke the streak, even though it really wasn't so bad. I just made it bad because I anticipated trading. See, that's why I don't anticipate, I don't speculate. I trade what is happening at the time it is happening, when I could see it actually happening. This trade, I bought more anticipating that it was going to do something. What do I know? I don't know shit, right? But suddenly on this trade, I'm thinking, no, I know. It's definitely going to happen. It's It's going to break that blue line. It's going to rip to the orange line. I'm going to make that extra 2 points. So I'm going to load up. And oh my freaking God, my life force has been, I mean, I lost probably 18 months of trading. My trading life has been diminished by this fucking trade on Friday. Just sitting there, just doing nothing. But when it got rejected at the VWAP there and went all the way down there, instead of taking the loss, it never broke the lows of the day. So I had to buy more. And then I bought more. And then here, where it tested the VWAP, there was no chance in hell, right, that I thought that this stock wasn't about to break VWAP. So, I'm buying 200 here, 200 here, 300 here, 200 more here, another 200. So I'm up to like 800 shares of this thing. What do I do here? I buy 2,000 fucking shares like a lunatic, thinking, all right, this is it. I just waited 3 hours for this thing to happen. And I sat here. And then it finally breaks over the VWAP and goes nowhere again. And I sat there. And then I had to eat the whole goddamn thing. And I wasted 4 hours of my life and about $1,200 or more, close to $2,000. And it's not even the $2,000 that I lost. It's the amount of time I sat here with this awful trade and then inevitably got stopped out for a loss. I'm going to say that broke the streak, even though the true trade is it breaks the VWAP, tests it from on top, and then rallies back to the prior day VWAP. We never even had that. But when you force a trade, right, that's what happens. Or you let the trade happen, right? That's the difference. That's what makes me able to stay in this business even after doing, and again, was it dumb? No. Should I have bought 2,000 extra after buying 100 share, 200, 100 share? No, shouldn't have done that either. Shouldn't have loaded up until I was 100% convinced. But I felt like I was going to bully the stock. This is it. I'm going to push it through the VWAP myself with my measly 2,000 shares. And it shoved it right down my throat. And again, look, the stock went nowhere, but I turned it into a bad, terrible trade because I don't usually lose $2,000 on a day trade very often. And that was just despicable. And again, what was worse was that the wonderful trade where I only had 200 shares of Newegg, I gave it all back on that dumb BJ trade. And that was my Friday. And I had a stew about it all weekend. But I come back today and we just reset. We go right back to what works, PDD, some QQQ action, right? Nobody's shorting the Qs, right? You're not shorting the Qs, right? Market went down one day last week. We might not see a down day now for the next 6 months. And I mean it. I know it sounds funny and tongue-in-cheek, but you can't fight this market. So understanding that you can't fight this market and that we were red on a Monday, which does not translate, not allowed to be red on a Monday, can't go down on, we don't go down Mondays, we don't go down Fridays. Every once in a while, we go down half of a Wednesday and sometimes the Thursday morning, and that's it. And next thing you know, it'll be October. I need to have this conversation with you, right? You get it. You get it. The markets doesn't really want to go down, right? So you take that under advisement, just like Palantir, right? You're still going to debate whether or not it's overvalued or undervalued. What's the debate here? You got a faux show, bro, VWAP break on the most popular stock on the planet. And there was the trade. So there's the faux show. There's the Wiesen to Wei. The Wiesen to Wei is right there. Right there. Blue line, orange line. The market's rigged. But instead of taking Palantir today, the other trade was, okay, Palantir is getting strong, so I guess the Qs will get strong because they're basically one and the same. And there's, see the chart? The Palantir. And now the Qs, basically the same looking chart because everything's running on a system. Everything's running on a pre-programmed system. And you just stay with the trends. So you know the market doesn't want to go down. Okay, look, it's trying to convince you it's going to, oh, now back above VWAP, back above the range. You know right here, we're not going down. Buy it. And if we do go down, you use those prior levels as your outs. And then we broke highs, and then 570 gets you 572.50. Fantastic. And that is basically the entire day. Other than, I could talk about open. I didn't place any trades in it. This is one of my favorite stocks. I'm embarrassed to say I didn't buy it today. Why is this one of my favorite stocks? Do you think it's because of what they do? I still call this stock open table. It'll forever be open table. Is it even open table? It's not even open table anymore. Does anybody even know what open table is? Open table. Open table. Anybody going once? Anybody remember open table? Open table? Yes. Restaurant reservation company, right? They got bought out by something else. This is even the same stock. This is some company that came out of COVID that Kathy Wood said would be a great company because you could buy a house without actually having to go to the house. But no one's buying houses without doing a walkthrough. Nobody's buying houses through them. And this company's going to zero. But it's not going to zero now. It's being squeezed, right? And that's all you need. You got 500 million shares trading on it almost every other day. When you got that kind of volume, it sets up chart patterns. And look at this wonderful faux show, bro, this morning that I woke up to. Some of these guys were in my chat room already trading it. And then look, there's the faux show again. This was a little bit choppy around the VWAP, but inevitably fake out, shake out, breakout. And if you want to see a chart that you got to like on a company that you might not know isn't even not even the same company, this. You guys heard of the Andy Dufresne pattern? Sure you have. Of course you have, because I've been talking about it for the last 30 years. Here it is, my friends. The Andy Dufresne on open. Let me show it to you. It's even nastier than you could imagine. Here, this is a 15-year chart on a weekly. Huh? You see it? This thing's going higher. Who cares if they're going to be out of business 6 months from now or a year from now? You know they are. Who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody cares if the stock's going to be zero inevitably. You care about what's going to happen today. And if tomorrow it starts to follow through, it's going to rip their heads off again. And it looks like it wants to get back to this level. This is 765. You're talking about $8. The reason this charting works, right, is that we're all looking at the same thing. Anybody that reads charts is seeing the same thing. This just came out of the, whatever pattern they call it. I call it the Andy Dufresne and the Kardashian bottom. And when I see an Andy Dufresne Kardashian bottom and a squeeze with massive volume, usually you go higher. So you address that. And this has now been one of the greatest stocks to trade over the last, 3 weeks, even on the short, because it's easy to borrow. That's what I like about it. Because it will go back down like the wolf trade. Remember we had some fun with you guys last week? Let me talk about that because I don't know if I addressed it. That trade that we were doing live with you I think it might have been Thursday. That 2-cent stop kept me in the trade. Remember when we shorted it on the rollover and we were using $10.21 as our stop? Where is it? I don't know what day was that. Where'd it go? Oh, here. That was the day right here. We milked that short, man, for as much as we could. And that 2 cents kept us in the trade. So a lot of cool things are happening. But really, this market is just about staying focused. And we were talking about that today. That was the topic that we got to right away because there really wasn't much to focus on today except PDD, because that was our earnings report. Qs, because we always watch the Qs. Palantir, because we're always watching the Qs. Palantir. Open, because it's been on our watch list for weeks and weeks and weeks now. And that's it. And that's the whole day. And you don't have to be a hero. You don't have to trade 50 times a day. You do 2 good trades, right? And that's it. And then you try to do anything other than give money back, right? The easiest thing to do is to leave, right? Can't lose money if you're not in the casino, right? But you can't make money. Sure you can. Tomorrow. Think about it as a job. Your boss just came over and said, great job. You can go home early now. Most people would leave, right? Trust me, I know a guy that wouldn't leave. I used to do live training, and I had a guy, he used to live in, was it like Westchester? Took him a good 2 hours to get to the city, right? Minimum. So it was a hike, but he loved coming to the city, right? He'd get there, 8:30, we're game planning. This was back when pre-market was only 15 minutes before the open. So it was just basically 9:30 to 11:30 was our really great window to shine. And we were doing all right. I was teaching him how to stick and move, play the fades and all that stuff. And he was, he'd make his $500 or $600 almost every day. And then I'd say, hey man, I'm going to go play hacky sack. What do you mean? I'm paying you to be here. I'm like, well, part of my advice is get the hell off the desk at 12 o'clock because nothing generally good happens between 12 and 3. So if anything, take the next 3 hours off and we'll come back at 3. Or I got a better suggestion, go home. And he got all pissed off. What do you mean go home? I just got here. It takes me 2 hours to get here. I'm not just going to go home. I'm like, well, don't put any trades on. And then we'd had a fight about, well, if I'm such a good trader, I should be able to make money all time frames and all day. And I was like, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but that's not how trading works. The market tells you what to do, and you just bend to the will of the market and try to do as best as you can during the best times. And considering I know for a fact, pal, that trading between 12 and 3 doesn't work too well, and I'm the guy that you're paying for the advice, how come you don't want to take that tidbit of advice? And then he would sit there. I'd go out, play hacky sack. I'd come back, and he'd be down. I'm like, what'd you just do? I shorted Goldman Sachs, and I lost $500 in like 2 minutes. I'm like, why'd you short Goldman Sachs? Well, I don't know. So you don't even know why you shorted? Oh, it looked like it was going to go down. And then after like 3 weeks of that, I was like, listen, buddy, here's your money back. You're bothering me. And then he started yelling and crying about something. And we actually had to fire this guy. It's not like it was a real job, but we told him not to come back. Gave him his money back. We're like, no. You're just a bad person to be around. And ask your parents if you've got enough oxygen when you were a kid, because you shouldn't be around money. You're going to lose every penny you ever had. I just gave you a trade, a setup. I just gave you a life, and you blew it up right in front of me. And he wouldn't stop, to the point where, like, listen, we don't want you back here. Fuck you. And then he was still yelling about that Goldman Sachs trade. Oh man, you cut me off on that trade. I could have traded my way out of it. Meanwhile, the stock was up 20 points that week. I was like, yeah, you would have traded your way out of it. You would have lost 20 grand of our money. But the one thing, and again, I'm a broken man, right? Shorting, I've had to, I come in every morning thinking today's the day, not the market. I think the market's going down. Truly, right? I have to fight my inner nature. Like, I came in today, we're giving back that whole Fed move. This is bullshit. This market's getting hammered. And then I got to wait for reality to wash over me. Oh, that's right. The market never goes down. And that's why I'm always repeating it to myself, because I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe it. We can't go down for 3 weeks, shake things up, have some fun, some volatility, crush some stocks on the downside. It's like we don't even get that up. It's like you get one day. And that wasn't even that great of a day. I mean, it was Wednesday morning. That was it. Wednesday morning was the follow through. and it was met with buying, and then it was met with buying the next day, and then it was met with a lot of buying on Friday. So now Wednesday's lows are new generational lows. I don't want to admit it, but it could be, especially those Friday lows from way back. If you put the 20, here's the chart. Go back and look at 20 days worth of data. Put it on a 20-minute chart. 20 at 20. 2020. You don't even capture it anymore. Put it 20 days on an hourly, and you'll see the whole world, baby. Hike up your skirt a little more for me. Show your world. Something like that. Some song I used to like. There it is. That takes consideration the one mini correction that we had, the earnings reversal on Apple that morning, and the market got slammed. And then what's it done since? It went into a monster move. We've consolidated that move. And these two now pivot points, for all we know, could be new generational lows. And that's the way I'm looking at this market right now, that the pivot point that we had basically today are new generational lows until they break, because it's impossible to short. So why try? I'll just keep waiting for the shorts to overstay their welcome. And if you're going to short stocks, they better look like NEGG. You want to short stocks? NEGG. You want to short stocks? They better look like Groupon, right? Told you. Right. That whole saying about the market could stay irrational longer than you could stay liquid, it's true. But inevitably, when reality sets in, don't be afraid to go back and crush, because I got smoked on the short that morning on Groupon, and look what happened since. I made the money back, and then I made more of that the next day. Look at the downtrend that it's in now, because it's a pump and dump. The stock's going to zero. It's going to absolute zero. It's going to go below zero. You're going to be fine for owning this stock within 3 months. Same thing with Newegg. There are certain stocks where you just got to wait them out, right? But this market, there's no waiting out the market. It ain't going down. I mean, and when it does, it's just a temporary thing. You guys understand why the market can't go down anymore, right? Because it's a club. It's a VIP club. If they had a few stocks in the QQQ that aren't cooperating when the uptrends, they kick them out of the club. Bait it, right? And that's why this market, again, so it's all smoke and mirrors and shells. But speaking of that, let's talk about some other stocks, right? Some of my sleeper picks that not many people know about are Oh, by the way, did anybody get involved in the SPAC? It went from $11 to $55. And, I think some of our players got out of today in the 50s, and then it plummeted right back to $20. It was so sick. These are real candles. There's only like 10,000 shares traded on this stock, but this is the SPAC that I was telling you about 2 weeks ago at $11 with the movie company. They made some announcements, and there's no stock available. They ran the thing from 11 to 53, and then obviously somebody came and sold, I think maybe 8,000 shares, and they hammered it right back to $20. Insane. But besides this crazy one that I brought to your attention, let me tell you a little about, you guys like the space rockets robots trade, right? Anybody still in RR? Come on now. We got the 250, right? I'd be a seller at the 250, but don't forget about this bad boy. It's in the most subtle uptrend. Right here. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. And this next consolidation, if we break out and we get past that 3, we're looking real good. Real good on the RR. Some other ones that I still am hanging with to some extent. USAR. Hell yeah, brothers and sisters. Look at this uptrend. Low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low. And now we got a 1-year trending VWAP as support. Rare earths. If you're a fan, big fan of the stock, and the earnings, that was earnings day. It just missed getting to all-time highs. So if it breaks the earnings reaction high and all-time highs, I'd still be buying this bad boy. I love it. And tell me somebody's still in SRAD with me. This one I buy a little bit every day. I buy 50 shares. I buy 3 shares. I buy 20 shares on my way to inevitably having 5,000 shares of this thing. I'm, I don't really want to keep buying it as it's going up. I'm waiting for a little pullback. But if you guys have been in SRAD with me, we got 10 points on this one now. Not selling any of it. I've not sold a share. Still buying it. Love stocks that are trending like this one is. And this is a fairly new stock. It's only been around for about 6 years. And you got brand new IPO highs. So this is a all-time high on SRAD. If you guys know about this company, they are data and they collect data for sports gambling websites, which is my favorite thing in the world. Live gambling. They power the FanDuels, the DraftKings, and all these other websites to collect the data. And it's where you want to be. It's where you want to be. And it's where I'm going to be for the next couple of years. Hopefully looking at the stock at $120, but I'll take 50. You give me 50, I'm going to sell some. And then hopefully we go to $80. Anybody got anything you want me to look at while we're chilling? I got zero going on right now. Just that's it. And if anybody's still in another one, now this one, please don't go run and buy it right now because you'll move the stock. And hopefully somebody's still in this. It's drones. It's Israel. And they love blowing up people. It's the mob. And if you don't own it, buy it on a pullback because this is another stock that has now been pumped and dumped 6 different times. It's actually a legitimate company. I did some due diligence on it. And every time it pulls back, there's buyers, which is the main reason that you like it. And now we broke out finally above the pre-high, that $5 mark. There's nothing left for this thing to do now. NVTS, actually, I still own that. Yeah, that's still the same price. Seems like it's going to be the same price forever. But the mob people, join the mob. Look at that. So that's its all-time high right there, right? So take a look at this. I'll show you something really interesting. So if you take the whole life of this stock, 822, so it'll be 3 years today or last week. It's the 3-year anniversary of the stock's existence. I just want to show you on a daily. That was a weekly chart. You see how you just got over the 475 and now you're in this big candle? That was one day. So now you're inside that candle. So now that you're in there finally, there's really nothing preventing the stock from going back to 666. And here's a big if-then statement. If mob breaks 666, where do you think it's going next? I'll give you one hint. It rhymes with Mevin 50. And when this stock breaks 750 and it gets into the 10s and they get a little buzz going and then more people know about nobody even knows this stock exists, which is good. That's where you want to be. Let them learn of it when it's at 10 on its way to 1250 and then 15 and then 100. Because when the drones, again, it all comes back. The UMAX, rockets, robots, space, this stock is back in favor. But when the sector gets back in favor and they start running, this bad boy is on a collision course, hopefully with 750 next. But, again, we've had some really, percentage-wise, some pretty damn big pullbacks every time this thing moved up. So I'm expecting the same thing. And then I'm going to buy more if I can get it, at 450, that 420 area also. I bought more at 420. And, I mean, I don't really talk about these stocks like they're really meaningful positions because they're not really. I have some, but they're all working out. The question is, will they keep working out when I put some size on? That's usually the answer is no. That's why I just stay within my means. I have some fun and enjoy the ride while I got it. So what else was there? Yeah, Clove. I'm still digging the Clove at 250. NVTA, or do you mean NVTS? NVTA? Oh, that's the nastiest chart I've seen all month. What in the hell is this? It's legitimately 1 cent. Yeah, I don't think this ain't. I don't think this is coming back. Yikes. NVTA. Oh, this is. I can't even get a quote on my regular system. This is like sub pink sheets. Oh my god. Did you mean NVTS? That's what I thought you might have meant. Yeah. All right, NVTS. Yeah, I'm still in it. Yeah. And every time I think I'm going to sell out of it, it hangs in there. So I'm going to have to do the same trade. If it gets under 6 and holds again, I'm buying more. But one of these times, I'm actually going to buy more and sell it because I haven't sold any yet, and I'm still in this trade from the Nvidia news back here. I bought the dip, but I just haven't sold any. But I have to dump the whole thing if it breaks down under that 575. Rocket, that's another garbage stock that I kind of started to like, but I think I missed the big move. Yeah. This stock has been dead for quite some time too, and it's come back. Oh no, it already had. This is the second time it's making its move. Yeah, I don't hate this stock. I hated it when it was an IPO because I didn't like the the environment at the time, and it was just a garbage IPO. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Get back above that 20. You're going to 2250 and 25. Geo. This the prisons? The prisons or the insane asylum or something like that? Yeah, we had some fun with this thing back at 750. Wow. It went to $36. I must have looked at it once, but wow. This is awesome. Holy crap. This is the Geo is the prisons, right? Or something. I forgot it. Like, or it's an asylum or something. Yeah, I was just liking it because of this little chart pattern down there. But right now, it's having a hard time getting back above the price it broke down from. But if it does get over there, you got your little fake out, shake out moment right there. That's very interesting to watch. You know what? That's a good one to watch the next couple of days because it's at a critical spot. You know what? I'm putting it on my watch list now. Nice. So just a little some updates. I'm going to Colorado Thursday morning. I'm pretty much checking out today. I'm only going to be around a little bit tomorrow doing a podcast in the afternoon. Wednesday, I'm only going to be here for a couple hours checking out. Got a pack. And then I'm going to the city to the stock exchange, possibly do some filming, hanging out with the JC and the crew. Don Corleone's coming in. Going to give him a tour of the stock exchange. And then I'm out. And then it's Labor Day weekend. And, you got Wednesday night is NVIDIA numbers. They're going to be awesome. You heard about this company, NVIDIA? The numbers are going to be ridiculously amazing. But the stock gone up 130% into the number. It's probably going to be up 3 points. I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't sell it. I wouldn't do anything with it going into the number. Sophie, yeah, I got to call my dad on that one. He's in 12. When he sells, you sell because he bought it. He saved the company. My dad hasn't had a losing trade in 20 years, which is just insane because he's a long-term holder. Somebody got in his ear about the stock and he bought it. Coincidentally, it was breaking out at the same time. He bought it around 12.50. And yeah, I don't understand why it's going back up because the business model still really hasn't changed, right? With the college loans and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't care, but I wouldn't sell it because you just, broke over these highs. There's no reason not to think you're about to go to 28 and change, right? It's phenomenal. And you got Big Al behind you, and Big Al never fails. By the way, when my dad starts to sell, 80 years old, just the other day, still playing pickleball, still in high growth stocks because he knows what's up. When my dad starts to bail, that's probably going to be a time for everybody to get out of the queues. But I think we're going to be right about this next 3 years. I think we're going to go up. I think we're going to go up a lot more from here. I mean, obviously, nobody can predict if there's going to be a black swan event or some sort of new thing to be scared of, like cardboard with numbers on it. I still don't understand why everybody got so scared about cardboard guy with all the numbers and the countries. He really wasn't even saying anything. He was just Vietnam 28%, Japan 16%, Switzerland 83%. No, you know what? Fuck it, 85%. No, you know what? Do 92%. About 175%, 15%. And the market started to crash. I still don't understand why we overreacted so much, but once you get selling begets more selling, and then the fear comes in, and next thing you know, no one's asking why. They're just saying, holy shit, we're crashing. Let's get the hell out of the market. And then I had to talk all my liberal friends off the freaking shelf, off the cliff. Man, they were crying. Every single one of them. I was like, all this stuff you're posting on your Facebook pages, you're going to have to take down within 3 months when the market comes roaring back. And then 3 days later, it was coming roaring back. They're out there protesting. Ooh, Trump took all our money. No one's ever breaking this market. I think we're doubling from here. Seriously, I really do. I mean, I just want to make sure you guys don't think I'm being like trying to joke around about that. I think we tack on 100% from here in the next 3 years. I think 3 years from now, we'll be looking at the Qs at 1,000, easy, and 100,000 on the Dow. Once this consolidation, the next, again, it's just going to be the same thing over and over again. Consolidation break. And every time we consolidate, people sell and go short, and then they need to get back in, and the shorts have to cover, and it just feeds on itself. I'm not going to make the same mistake, that I made from when the market started to rally after the 2009. 10, 11, 12, after 4 years of going up, I was like, all right, enough is enough. When does the correction come? And I basically beat the shit out of myself for 3 years. Between 2012 and 2015, I lost so much money shorting the market and just getting my head caved in every day. I'm just not going to do that anymore. I mean, it's just, I'm never getting in the way. You want to go up 100%? Let's go. I'm in. Because same attitude kept me from buying Bitcoin. And I'm looking back, if you guys do analysis, not only should you do trader analysis on the setups, but you should, next to the trader analysis, try to remember what you were thinking, right? What were you thinking at the time? What was right? What was wrong? Because when I look back, and again, I'm a gambling, I am vice. I've had my run-in, we've all done our party favors, if you know what I'm saying. vice, party favors, right? We've all done that. Love sports gambling, love gambling, right? Love casino. Well, I don't like casinos anymore because I work in a casino. But when Bitcoin was first introduced, right? What was it? It was about money laundering, drug dealers, and just a bunch of nefarious things, right? We heard about, what was it, Silk Road? You could buy heroin on the black market using Bitcoin and launder your money while you're doing it. And I was like, oh, I don't want any part of that. What the hell was I thinking? You don't want to be involved in the money laundering and the pornography? Those are the guys that make all the money. That's why the internet was born, from money laundering and pornography. What the hell was I thinking? So I am not thinking that anymore. You want to run this market 100% every 2.5 years? Let's go. Bitcoin is 5 million now. Let's go, baby. And when I release my coin, nobody sells. Nobody sells. My coin's going to be the greatest coin ever. By the way, if anybody has any, I'm looking at a couple exchanges right now. I'm trying to pick where I launch. It's going to be awesome. And I'm going to run a TV commercial about it. I'm going to put it on CNBC. It's going to be fun. I'm going to have spots on WFAN. And then when it goes 300x, and they have me on CNBC. Today we have. So what exactly does your coin do? Goes up. No, what's the blockchain? Just goes up. That's what it does. It only goes up. Well, what if it goes down? It doesn't. It doesn't go down. Who's that guy? Who the guys in the host? Two guys in the beginning of the day. Then I go on Fox News with the guy with the suit. What's that guy's name? We're here with the CEO of, I don't want to tell you the name of the coin yet, but and then just as the interview is going to conclude, and for my next trick, I'm going to take a dump on this chair and sell it to somebody because your morons will buy anything. And I get cut off. Turd on a chair. It's the newest thing. You guys heard about turd on a chair? I'm in. No, seriously, what is it? No, it's an actual turd on a chair. Somebody just paid $8 million for it. Get the hell out of here. Right? If they're paying money for a duct tape banana, why not turd on a chair? Turd on a chair. Christmas special, right? Because, listen, I want to get paid 50x also on some fake currency. Seems like everyone else is doing it. But remember, only invest what you can lose. Take the high quality trades on PDD so you could throw $4 or $5 grand into a coin that may or may not go 2 to 5 to 20 to 100x. Speaking of that, how is my Algo X trade doing? Algo X. Still 25 cents. But yeah, wow, what am I trying to say? Not a lot not to like. Get that one out fast. Not a lot not to like about what we're seeing in this market right now. And, again, it's just staying focused on the rockets, space, quantum, chips. It's the way to go, And even if it's not involved in rockets, like RKT, as long as the word rockets in it, I'm telling you, people think that's a space company. Rocket companies, it's mortgages, but they probably think it's Rocket Labs. All right. Namaste. I hope you guys stay insane. Don't overtrade. There's not much going on. If you hit the PDD, fantastic. Loving these other names that we've been talking about. And if you are swing trading any of my names, they all look freaking awesome. Loving the USAR. Loving it. When that thing breaks 20. But I really like the mob. We finally got over 5. And I'm just looking for some consolidation in this upper zone. So, again, you could see this thing fall 25% tomorrow, but the next consolidation phase, as long as it doesn't break down and, roll over, because I'd have to dump it, back below, I'd say like 375. I really don't want to see it there. But every pump, let's just say every dump has been getting pumped. And now we're in the spot where I've been waiting a really long time for this thing to get over 5. Hopefully a little consolidation the next couple of days. And if this thing's above 666, loving USAR. Loving USAR. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. Same kind of thing. Every time it goes down, it's got the buyers are there and the trend continues. And there's nothing not to like about what that looks like right there. You got the 1-year trailing VWAP as major support. It's not a riskless trade, but, as we're trending up, keep making those higher lows. This next move back above 1750, hopefully it happens on a Friday. This thing has pretty good options. And they have, not only do they have really good option chain because they have half numbers and whole numbers weeklies, they're freaking pretty damn cheap. For a stock that's got some real potential, we've done very well with these options. They are so cheap. And there goes another one. I know I got to go. But, some other ones, this LiDAR doesn't want to die. V-Wave certainly does not want to die. Watch this one. This is defense. V-Wave. Watch this stock. You get above 1259. This thing's going to 20. This one is very interesting because it was left for dead. It looked like it was going to die. And it's now popped 50% in the last couple of days. V-Wave, very interesting. Like it with the mob. And the Fly IPO, I'm waiting. You're going to have to buy it, right? And again, see where that $50 mark is. Let's see if they drag it under 44. You go into the 30s, but when it turns and starts to rip, Clove isn't bad. You buy it under 250, it pops, you make some money. We'll know a year from now or 2 years from now. Gets back over 335. I'd actually still dig it. All right, we're out. Peace. Sorry to go over. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I got some more stuff I want to talk to you guys about tomorrow. So, see ya. Thanks for hanging out.